All right, this is section 1.4 day 2, and we're just going to talk a little bit more about how to move all of our different kinds of graphs. And I've just got two examples to run you through, so not new information today, just kind of doing a couple of problems. So the first one, it gives us this function, and it looks a little bit different than the ones we've been doing before. We haven't usually had a number in front. And just to remind you that an equation is movable, like this 2 that's sitting in front, I could put it on the end where we'd probably like to see it instead. And it is positive right now, so I can throw it on the end there, leaving that negative in front where it belongs, and then throwing that 2 on the back end. And the 2 is positive, so it stays positive. And now this kind of looks more like what we've been doing before. It's set up kind of in the same fashion. So our parent function, again, if we took away all of the numbers, except for powers, so if we took away all the numbers, we'd be left with an x squared, so that's our parent function. And then describe the transformation, so just everything that is not x squared, what do all those things do? So we've got a negative, a 5, and a 2. The negative is going to flip it over the x-axis. The 5 is going to move left 5, and the 2 is going to move up 2. So now we're just going to do a quick sketch. We have to graph it with the parent, so I'm going to put my parabola on there. And looks like that. And let's give it a sketch. If you are just going to be using pencil when you draw these, make sure you label them, like this one's the parent. If you have 2 different colors, like I'm going to grab a pen right now, if you have 2 different colors, still label a little bit, but at least then you can tell the difference between the 2. So this one's going to go left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2, 1, 2. That's my new kind of vertex. That's where that point has moved to. And then we're going to flip over the x-axis, and I want generally the same shape of my parabola, so I kind of want to keep it the same size. But there's my new picture. The other one, very written like we have been practicing. So I'm just going to pick out each of the pieces. Sorry, first I'm going to pick out parent function. So if I take out all of the numbers, and imagine my finger covering up that -1 as well, you'd be left with an absolute value of x, so that's the parent. And that looks like this. It's just a V-shaped function, looking like that. And to describe the transformation, remember we want to describe everything that isn't just the x, absolute value of x. So I've got a negative, that's a flip over the x-axis. I've got a 2, that will make it skinnier or closer to the y. I've got a -1, will actually move it right. And I've got a -4, which will actually move it down. So taking this point, I'm going to move to the right 1, down 4. That's my new vertex. It is flipped over the x-axis, which means my V is going to be shaped downward, and it's going to be skinnier. So just make sure that it visually looks skinnier than your original graph, and you are good to go. We're not getting into the way specifics of where the points are exactly. We just want to be able to identify all of the pieces at this point and then get the picture in the right area. So that's kind of wrapping up our second day of shifting, reflecting, and stretching graphs.